example. This one, I suppose, is more like the example that Lindsay was giving at the beginning. I work a little bit for microelectronics engineers. We were running a short course, and in this case, I didn't know the company particularly well. And also the company is quite sensitive about giving out company specific information. So I had to find out an awful lot from the trainer. I would use either from the student. I would use a lot. I would take examples from the students, but I would also use textbooks which are generative, and I think that's a key thing. But that's actually a small part of the work which I'm involved in. These next two, okay, first of all, I work a lot for HR management. I know the company well, I have information from the company, I'm able to videos and audio recordings for the company of HR people, HR interactions. And this type of course, then the agenda would be set very much together with the company and work with the students. But then the next one, I think this is extremely important. A lot of work I'm involved in at the moment with IT roles. I know the company very well. Many of the learners don't actually know the language that they're going to have to be using. I think this is an absolutely key issue that I will work with the business, again, get hold of documentation, people who are interested in these things, because trainers, for example, will come from countries, people are sensitized to different cultures, different speakers, and put together packages. And in that situation, this is business critical, where the trainer is also a teacher of the English of the people. So, best teaching resource, our students. Well, if we're looking at everyday speaking, listening, reading and writing, well, I think we just have to think about all those issues. Some of these things I think we can discuss later on. As we can see, many of these will come straight from the student. Others, for example, business jargon, those types of issues will come very much for the company. Abbreviations and acronyms, many people don't know what an RFO, an RFC or KPI, we can discuss these maybe later on, what they actually mean, but it's the company or it's the trainer doing the research beforehand, also, and the student, of course, which will bring everything together. And then I want to give some examples of the type of thing that my learners have to understand, for example, when they're working internationally. But they don't necessarily know this English themselves. It has to come from the company and from the trainer. So learner as a resource is not necessarily enough to give that type of language. Where is this coming from? If the student or organization is ignored, then if the teacher is just pushing ahead, maybe using an irrelevant course book or just doing what he thinks or she thinks is right, then too much time can be spent on irrelevant case studies, exercises. They can be over-focus on things that, okay, as Lindsay was saying, that people just want to chat, but that's not necessarily what the company wants from these people. It's okay if they're paying for themselves, they're entrepreneurs, but I've recently had a situation where students had learned words like mushroom, how to order steaks and things like that, but they didn't know any of the basic technical language needed to operate. Okay, correct grammar, these things, inflexible textbooks. Okay, in general, I think that there are, in fact, a limited number of specialist business English trainers who have a true understanding of this everyday business life. So, coming to an end, I believe that student is a resource, absolutely important, but is it the best resource? For me, the most effective business critical language training will involve active input from the learner, the organization and the trainer. So it's too simple to say that the student is necessarily always the best resource. It has to be this triumvirate. And I'd like to leave with one final point, which is what I see if the trainer and the learner are not really connected. It's something which I heard recently. I work with Carl, okay, work out what the reply would be. So that was from the student, the trainer. Carl. What? Carl. It's our legacy system. Sorry? Our legacy system. What's that? Okay, so we have a situation where, again, the learner knows something about what he's talking about in this situation, but if the trainer doesn't know, okay, and doesn't understand, then we have a problem. And I've left some references at the end if you want to look up the CARL system. I imagine people will get the slides, but these are a few things. Okay, I think that's my time up as well, so I'd like to finish there.